Hi, Brianna. It's nice to see you again. How has your day been so far?
It's been fine.
Have you been enjoying this nice weather?
Yes, I love the fall weather.
Me too, me too. It's great that it's finally getting colder. It was hot for a while.
Yes.
Like, when will winter months come? So how was your weekend this last weekend? I know you said your family was going to be coming into town.
Yeah, they came to town for about 3 or 4 days and stayed at the house with us. And, you know, we did a few things. I mean, we saw a movie. We went out to eat a few times. They ate with my friends a couple times, too, here at the school. But, I mean, it was good. I mean, we got in a few arguments, but...
Got into a few arguments? What were they over?
Well, one of the biggest ones was about a guy I've been seeing for about a month.
Do your parents not like him?
Well, they haven't even met him, but I mean,
Okay.
what they've heard about him and what I've said and pictures or whatnot, they don't like him.
What's his name?
Eric.
Eric? How did you two meet?
We met in biology class. We took it together.
I'm glad that you're meeting friends in biology class. I know you were saying you were feeling kind of unsure about the college life and everything. So it's good that you met somebody. Are you two still together?
Yeah, we are.
Okay, good. So what are some of their concerns about Eric?
Well, my parents are... they've always been overprotective of me. So it's like, even like the little things, they just like freak out about. I mean, he's a good guy. Like, I mean, from what I know about him. But, I mean, they seem to think that either, I don't know, he's not good enough for me, or he's a bad guy, or, you know, that kind of thing.
In terms of communication, I know last session we were talking and you were saying how the communication between your family, it seemed to be more condemning, judgmental, as you said, towards like one's trying to one up the other. Was that the case in this argument with the communication?
Yeah.
It was. What were some of the signs that things were escalating? I remember one of the goals that you had set for yourself was to try and figure out what those triggers were to make the arguments escalate, or the conversations escalate, I should say.
Well, I mean, since we brought that up last time, I was kind of like looking for it. So, like, I mean, there's one thing I noticed, like, when we're about to get in an argument, like, when I say something, like, there'll be, like, kind of like a pause, and they'll give me, like, a look. And then that's, like, where it starts.
What were some of your biggest frustrations with the communication during this particular?
I mean, I was trying to tell him, I was trying to tell him, like, you don't even know him. You haven't even met him yet. I mean, how could you judge him? And, like, I mean, I kept on, saying, like, can you just, not judge him until you've actually seen him? And, I mean, they wouldn't even listen to that. And so that was frustrating.
Knowing now what some of the signs are of the argument escalating, are there any ways that we could work towards finding a solution to maybe the approach of the topic might be something to alleviate that stress, or is there any way that we can come up together to figure out how we can communicate better with your parents?
I don't know. I mean, maybe that could be, it's worth a try.
Just to make sure to clarify what some of your concerns were, I remember last session you were saying that you really wanted to be able to communicate openly with your parents and that it was top priority. When I asked you what were the top priorities, you said that was definitely the top one. Is that still a priority?
Yes.
Given that you want to do that? Okay. Just sorry. Okay, so tell me a little bit about how the rest of the weekend went and your communication with your parents, besides the argument.
I mean, we're able to talk about things like class or work or, I mean, like just stuff that just like happens in the day. I mean, we can talk about, I don't know, stuff we saw on TV or, I mean, it's just like, it's like those things that they might not agree with is what you know what the arguments are about. I mean, so in those sense, like, we can communicate, but it's not like communicating like feelings or like stuff that I feel like is important. But I mean, like, the rest of the weekend, I mean, other than the few times that we fought, you know, we had a fun time, you know, we went out to eat and stuff like that. And we don't get in fights, I mean, when we're around other people. I mean, usually.
How do you handle conflict?
I mean, other than my family, I mean, I usually try to avoid it. I mean, I try to avoid my family too, but I mean, you're close to them, and I mean,
Right.
and it's different. But I mean, it's like other people, I try to avoid it as much as possible.
So whenever you are having an argument with your family, because you said it is different than whenever, you know, with your friends, because you try to avoid it. When you are having an argument with your family, how do you react to the confrontation, to the conflict that arises whenever you have an argument?
I mean, it really depends, like, you know, sometimes, you know, like, I'm stressed out, and I'll get, like, emotional about it, and I'll cry. I mean, other times, you know, like, I'm right up with them, you know, like, yelling at them. It just all kind of depends on what kind of mood I'm having.
With this argument, how was your reaction?
Well, I was yelling at them because it was just so ridiculous, like, that they weren't just seeing my point of view.
I can see how frustrated you must be, you know, to try and get your point across, and it seems like it's just hitting a cement wall, that it's not, like, they're not listening to what you're trying to say. Is Eric open to meeting your parents?
Yeah, I mean, and I want him to meet her, because if they were just to see, like, to know him and get to talk with him, I know that they would like him. And I mean, so we both, like, want them to meet each other. I mean, the only reason why they didn't see each other last weekend was because he was out visiting his family.
Oh, okay. So you both want to meet each other's family, it was just the timing was a little off. Okay, alright. Well, now that I feel like we've gotten a really good foundation about what the problem is, and, you know, like, with you finding those triggers, like, what gives me a sign that they are about to get angry or that a fight's about to come, and you have brought that and observed that. Let's try and see if there are ways that we can work towards making the communication between your parents and you better. And what are some of the things you have tried? I know we talked about that a little bit more, but was there anything different about this argument in terms of trying, because you were coming at it with more of a evaluating, analytical perspective, you know?
I mean, yeah, other than that, like, I mean, I was more aware of, like, and, like, trying to pay attention, like, what was going on. But other than that, like, not much was different.
Mm-hmm. With your reaction to your parents, does that feed into their, what's the word, anger or their determination to prove their point?
I mean, it might be. I mean, because I think they want me to, like, agree with, like, what they say. So, I mean, me not agreeing, I mean, probably does feel their anger.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but would it be okay to say that knowing that they want you to agree with them makes it even more, like, I don't want to agree with you because I know you're trying to get me to agree with them? Is that an accurate?
Yeah, I guess you would say.
Has there ever been a time in the past where the communication flowed really well over a topic that it necessarily wouldn't have?
That would be after one that I would have to think about. Because, I mean, if there ever has been, I mean, it doesn't, like, readily come to mind.
Right. Now, I know we can't necessarily talk to them and have anything to do with how they respond to you. But let's see if we can find ways where in the approach, or even if the arguments are escalating, that we can, establish some kind of goal to plan to make the communication run better. So what is your biggest strength in communicating, do you feel?
Well, I'm good at listening. I mean, if that counts as communicating. But I mean, not liking to argue, like, when I get, like, frustrated, like, I feel like I'm not as good with words, like, they just don't come to me readily. I don't know.
Whenever the arguments with your parents are finished, do you walk away feeling really frustrated?
Yes.
Whenever you walk away from that, is there something you do to relieve the stress, to just kind of work it out to where you can calm down and think clearly?
Well, usually, like, after an argument, like, if I'm able, like, I'll go to my own room and I'll just, like, lay down and, like, think about it. Which, like, I mean, sometimes makes me, calms me down. Sometimes it makes me more mad because I'm just thinking about all the things, like, that happen in an argument. And so, I mean, I don't really have anything that I do. Sometimes, I'll go for a jog. That sometimes helps, just work it out.
Whenever you said that you like to, think about it and try and analyze it. Whenever you're doing that, do you ever come to different conclusions or think, oh, I should have said that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's always something that I wish I could have said, but don't want to go down there and,
Right.
start it all over again.
Right. You said that jogging helps you clear your mind. So is that something that also helps with other areas, jogging?
Yeah, definitely.
Whenever you're going to talk to your parents after you exercise, is your mood a little bit,
I
better?
would say clear, yeah.
Okay, so finding relaxation, a way to take your mind off things to where you can come at it with more of a, this is how I'm feeling, and these are more organized manners. Like we were talking about, with the jogging, and then coming to the topic that can be a little bit, better to know where you're coming from and have your thoughts organized, because then it's easier for someone else to understand what you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
However, there will be instances, as you well know, where no matter how clear of a mind you come to the topic with, it's not gonna necessarily be received well. And I know that's happened in many cases. Whenever communication between family is struggling, it's difficult. Even when you are making efforts, because like, well, I wrote in my journal before I came and did this, or I wrote in my journal after. Why am I not saying any? Why are they not understanding all of a sudden? So, if you come at this with the approach that you were talking about trying earlier, and it's not received well still, what is something that you could change in your interaction with the argument to stop it from snowballing, so to speak?
Well, I mean, I guess I could do what you're saying, go for a jog beforehand. But I mean, like, once it's, like, actually happening, I don't know, I don't know, that's a weird question.
Do you want me to restate it?
Yeah.
Okay. Whenever the argument's it's escalating and you can tell that it's about to go from the side, like when they pause or they, make that face that you were saying, what is something that could be done in your response to them that could stop the argument from escalating?
Well, maybe, I don't know, maybe I could, like, stop it there and be like,